Alright, so today's video is going to be the first of many videos on John Frusciante's signal change. And this is due to a few reasons. Number one, his chain is still subject to change. He might still be messing around with things right now and experimenting with different positions of pedals and effects. So the board just might naturally change in terms of signal chain. And number two, we don't really have some great images of his boards right now, and I'm sure we're going to get better shots and more information as time goes on. So stay tuned for more videos on his signal chain, but today I really just wanted to discuss and give you guys my insight, what we do know in terms of his signal chain going forward, just because a lot of you guys have, number one, been asking for me to go over it, and number two, I've seen a lot of people online talking about his signal chain and saying they know what it is or something like that, and they say something and I don't believe it's actually what they're saying, or they have no essentially evidence to back up their claim. So I'm going to give you guys my take and hopefully just help give you guys some information and better understanding. So let's get into today's video. By the way, I know I'm going to get a ton of you guys asking me where I got this Unlimited Love Los Angeles Lakers shirt from, and this is part of the official collaboration that the Red Hot Chili Peppers did with the Los Angeles Lakers, and I'm a Lakers fan and NBA fan in general, so this was a must cop for me. And right now, honestly, your best bet's going to be eBay or even something like StockX to try and find one of these for sale. But yeah, this is the official collaboration shirt that they did. Pretty cool. And now, today's video. Now, in order to start the discussion on John Frusciante's Unlimited Love signal chain, I actually want to quickly bring up the Stadium Arcadium era pedal board. If you guys remember, this board's signal chain was not your standard right to left, front row to back row. There was a lot of mixing around going on and just kind of randomness in terms of the chain itself on that pedal board. And I do believe that that principle is going to be applying to the Unlimited Love pedal boards. John prefers his boards to be set up in an ergonomic way. We know that. He likes just to avoid tap dancing and stretching and moving around as much as possible. So the things that he's going to be frequently stepping on and just the natural way that he prefers it to be is what the chain is most likely going to be with Unlimited Love, not necessarily just placed in order of signal chain position. Now, this is relevant when we discuss John Frusciante's massive board that he has for Unlimited Love. Now, of course, the only pictures we have of this board don't really show us a whole lot in terms of signal chain, so this board isn't really the main focus of today's video. But I will bring up that John does have two reverb pedals on that front row very early on if you were thinking from a right to left order. And clearly, those aren't going to be one of the first pedals in the chain. They're going to be pretty much at the very end, if not last. So clearly this board is following some of the principles of ergonomic setup, the way John Frusciante just likes his pedals to be placed for him to step on. So keep that in mind with that board and all of the other boards going forward. But stay tuned on my channel. You guys know the moment we get better pictures or any insight on that massive pedal board especially, I'm going to be making videos and updating you guys, giving you my insight. So please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm trying to make the push to 10,000 subscribers. I've been taking this YouTube channel seriously for just about a year now, and to be this close to 10,000 in that short of time is honestly amazing. So please consider subscribing if you haven't and you love my content. But we're going to discuss John Frusciante's mini pedal board. These promotional pedal boards were used for Howard Stern as well as Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon. And in order to get a better understanding of these three versions of his kind of promotional mini pedal board, we're actually going to quickly look at the Rehearsal pedal board. Now, this shot was from the Total Guitar magazine. I did a bunch of videos discussing that magazine and some key points from Total Guitar's interview with John. But this pedal board, you get a pretty decent look at what the signal chain should be. So let's break down the Rehearsal board's signal chain first. So obviously the tuner comes first, and yes, I'm looking at an image of it just because I can't memorize all of that. The tuner comes first and goes into the NS2. Now, what I believe is in the NS2 is this. You can clearly see the Dynacop goes into the 78 Badass Distortion, into the DS2, into the SD1, then into the Variac Fuzz, and then the Micro Amp. You can clearly tell that that is the chain of the drives. And I do believe these are all going to be in the noise suppressor as they're all chained together, so it just makes sense that they're all going to obviously be in the loop. If one of them is, they all are. What is also clear and to be expected is that the CE1 is splitting the signal. It's going to both amps from the CE1, but you can't really tell where the CE1 sits in the chain because that reverb pedal might be before the CE1 or after. I honestly can't tell from this image, and I don't think anyone can make a 100% with certainty say what it is in that order. But this also brings on the question about the WH10 and where the WH10 sits. It honestly could be in front of the drives in the loop, it could be after them in the loop, or after the noise suppressor itself. You just can't tell. So again, from this image, saying it's 100% one way or the other is just honestly incorrect. So we're going to have to wait and get a better look at some of these other boards to maybe try and figure out where the WH10 is sitting. Lastly, with the rehearsal pedal board with the reverb, as far as I'm thinking, I believe it's going to be after the CE1 when the amps have already been split. That just seems to be how John Frusciante likes to run his reverbs, at least in the Stadium Arcadium era, with the Holy Grail being used for just the Jubilee. But again, this is just me making an educated guess. It very well could be before the CE1, but I'm leaning a little bit towards it being after the CE1 splits the chain. Alright, now this brings us to the actual Mini Unlimited Love pedal boards. Again, these pictures aren't super clear, but I'm going to be making my best educated guesses to inform you guys. And let's talk about the Howard Stern board first. This is kind of the most recent good shot of John's board that we've gotten. And one thing I can tell is that there is definitely a cable running from the Dynacomp into the Variac Fuzz on this pedal board. You can see that. So obviously, again, ergonomics is kind of taking over in terms of where everything sits. And especially with the WH10 on this pedal board, just the way the board is set up and physically spaced out, it almost has to be placed on the far right anyway. So it doesn't necessarily mean the WH10 is very early on in the chain. Now, the Variac Fuzz also appears to be going towards the NS2 or the WH10. The only other thing I can really tell is that the NS2 goes into what appears to be one of those MXR reverb pedals. So with that in mind, again, it's hard to say where the WH10 sits, and right now we can't confirm if it's pre or post drive or even in the loop of the noise suppressor. And it is honestly the same story with the board from Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. What I'm thinking here, though, is that the cables, if you look at them and you can kind of identify the same kind of cable ends and everything, I'm thinking these kind of tell the story. So this is going to be just a full-on educated guess, but it does look like the SD1 is going into the DS2. And what I'm thinking is that the Variac Fuzz is after the DS2. That's just how it looks to me, and that would be in line with the rehearsal pedal board order as well. So that kind of backs up this line of thought. But again, I can't confirm it. Then after the Variac Fuzz, I could see a cable actually going kind of into the WH10. That's what that output cable from the Variac Fuzz at least looks to me like where it's going. If I kind of trace that cable, to me, it's going into the WH10. Again, I can't fully see the cable, but from what I can see, that to me is what it looks like is going on. Then after the WH10, I think it's going to be going into the noise suppressor. So that would mean that the WH10 is in the loop of the noise suppressor. The reverb pedal might be after the noise suppressor or after the CE1 again. It's kind of hard to honestly tell. But because we have a clear shot of this pedal board, I'm going to give you guys a just educated guess, full shot at the full signal chain of this pedal board. So for this board, I'm thinking obviously the tuner, then the noise suppressor, the super distortion, the DS2, then the Variac Fuzz, and then that goes into the WH10, and those are all in the loop of the noise suppressor. Then the reverb, then the CE1. That's my educated guess for this version of the pedal board. I'm not claiming this is the exact chain that John is using, but it's my educated guess. So there you guys go. I just wanted to help try and clear up some of the confusion and misconception around John Frusciante's signal chain, because just online everywhere, I've seen a lot of people saying it's one way or the other, and honestly, no one really knows for sure at this point. No one can 100% say what it is. It's not that clear, and we just don't have confirmation. So if you see someone saying it's 100% this way or it's 100% that way, that's just wrong, and they're just kind of blowing some smoke at you, if I'm being completely honest. But this was just a fun video, and I genuinely hope this helps you guys at least kind of try and figure out what's going on again. That's just what I try and do with my channel, help you guys out and provide clear information. It's about providing the right clear information, not about like myself being right. So if it comes out that this isn't true at all or I'm wrong, obviously I'm going to update you guys as well. But as of right now, I think everything I've said is at least fairly well backed up. And there you guys go. I hope this helped a lot of you out again, and hopefully is a relatively short video. You guys know I'm going to be making lots more covering Unlimited Love and John Frusciante. So once again, please consider hitting subscribing if you've watched some of my videos or enjoyed this one. Again, trying to make that push to 10,000. So I'd love to make that happen fairly soon. But as always, you guys, thank you so much for the support and for watching. We'll see you on the next one.